Why not? I have nothing else to do that night, and I certainly love to gamble, and it was close, and it made for an easy scenario. He was in. The call from Maguire, whom Ruderman had never previously met, confirmed the hedge fund manager's place on the secret card circuit. Ruderman recalls in the deposition, he had mentioned that he knew that I had played in a prior game that Molly had organized, and asked if I liked it, and I said yes. He says, well, that's good, because we actually have a regular game that she organizes, he continued. It's not on the beach, it's in town, and here's the facts about it, and would I be interested? And I said yes. That game, it turned out, was at Maguire's Los Angeles house that he shares with his wife, Jennifer, the daughter of Ronald Meyer, president and CEO of Universal Studios, and their 2 children, Ruby, 5, and 3-year-old Otis. Soon Ruderman was playing regularly, usually every other week. The routine became familiar to him. Bloom invited players by text, often mentioning when stars were expected. Ruderman said in his testimony, she, Molly, would include into your personal text message, Dave's showing up, Toby's showing. Bloom's games were strictly invitation only to venues such as the Four Seasons, the Peninsula, the Beverly Hills Hotel, and the world-famous Viper Room on Sunset Boulevard, a venue once owned by Johnny Depp. You had to be vetted by Bloom to get in. You had to have a pedigree, said Ruderman. By 2009, Ruderman told lawyers, he was well known in the circuit as someone who pays his debts. These were no ordinary games. Secret passwords were needed to play, and the door was sometimes manned by armed guards in bulletproof vests. Everything was laid on, even shoulder massages during games to relieve tension. Ronald Richards, one of the lawyers questioning Ruderman in prison, noted, Molly built a service business for herself by bringing friendly, attractive girls to serve drinks, and she provided a stable location and staff to host a game. Ruderman said the idea that attractive girls and drinks were the reason players showed up was wrong. The reason people show up at the game, in all due respect to Molly, is not Molly. It's the other players. Like Maguire and company, the highest wattage members of the circle. But Bloom, it was said, could get whatever you needed. A source said illegal drugs would sometimes be part of the action, from whom no one ever named. It was known to a handful of us that one player would keep 2 hookers down the hall of the hotel in another room, an insider said. He would disappear for 30 minutes at a time, leaving the main players in the game frustrated. In reality, he was going to do blow in a room with 2 hookers. There is no suggestion any of the people named in the story used drugs or hookers. Indeed, this author has chosen not to name the individual identified by multiple sources. If the extras on offer were unusual, the stakes involved were mind-blowing. In fact, there was no financial limit in the secret, unlicensed Texas Hold'em games. On one occasion, a player lost $300,000 in a night. Maguire was a winner, however, taking as much as $1 million per month over a period of 3 years, a source suggested. That means he could have made up to $30 to $40 million from these games, another said. Ruderman agreed. Tobey Maguire is the best player and a winner, he confessed to FBI agents Jeremy Tarwater and Steve Goldman in a separate, earlier interview, according to transcripts provided to a Los Angeles court and obtained by this author. Asked about the pot, Ruderman said in his most recent testimony, if there are 8 people playing and 8 people have $50,000 in chips in front of them, then there's $400,000 potentially that's at risk at any moment because it's a no-limit game. I believe the highest pot I ever saw, which I was not in the hand at that time, was $950,000. Every game, players would show up and buy in, usually for $50,000, according to Ruderman. Bloom was on hand to take the money, and her cut. If I lost my initial $50,000 and wanted to buy in for another $50,000, she'd hand me $50,000 in chips, and I would be in for $100,000 that night, he said. And she would keep track of that for every player. And at the end of the night, less expenses, she would have an accounting of who owed what to whom. Bloom would pocket around $6,400 per night, Ruderman said, which I later learned was closer to $30K per night. But she was not the house, merely a clear...